What up, Facebookers? Welcome back. I'm excited for today. It is our Dig Deeper book review. What does that mean? That means this is all about changing our thoughts to change our lives. And yes, you are here. It is live. And this is your coach, Zack Childress, and the lovely Jill. Say hi, everyone, to Jill.
Hey, hey.
Hey, Jill. Hey, Jill. Well, listen, I hope you guys enjoyed yesterday. We had a pretty cool call yesterday. Well, live stream, call, whatever you want to call it. And it was all about researching your deals and the different phases, really, from the fact-finding phase to the validation phase to the clustering phase so that you know what you're doing right. So come on to the party. Let's get going. I'm going to play a little music while our stragglers come on board. Let's see if I can play it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Where's Steve at when we need Steve? He wanted some old school. Come on. Come on board, Facebookers. This is it. Eye of the tiger today, baby. That's right. Why is that? Because we have the will to survive. We're climbing to the top. That's what we're doing. Climbing to the top. We have the will to survive. I love this. Bum, bum, bum. We got to dig deeper today, guys. On the streets. Chances. You hear that? He took his time and he took his chances. That's what we're doing today. We're making a big commitment into growing your business with you. Okay? So, you need to be on here. You need to be ready. You need to make sure that you're ready to come on board and do whatever it takes to build your real estate business. Now, our topic for today is the 1 minute manager. That's what we're going to be talking about today. The 1 minute manager. And some people say, what's this all 1 minute manager about? Well, good thing is I'm going to run you through it. Now, it's an easy read. If most of you probably read a lot faster than I do. You get through this book super fast. I would say within an hour you could probably read it. But listen, this is Zack Childress with your live Facebook Dig Deeper book review today. And a lot of you are coming on board right now, so I want to welcome you to your Dig Deeper book review. We do the Dig Deepers every Wednesday, 12:30 Central Time Zone, 1:30 Eastern Time Zone. When do we do it, Jill?
Every Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday's the radio talk, blog talk, radio talk, and Wednesday is Dig Deeper.
That's right, dig deeper. Dig deeper, hashtag that. Pow, dig deeper. You need to dig deeper into your business. You need to dig deeper in your life. You need to dig deeper in everything you do and get away from the status quo of the norm. Now, people say all the time, well, Zach, how do you get so far in your business? How do you get so far in your life? How did you get so successful? Well, guys, it's stuff like this. It's stuff like getting into books like this and reading. I mean, think about it. If I do a Dig Deeper book review every single week for 52 weeks, that's 52 books I have read on personal development, growth, systems, business processes. And by you joining it, you're getting the information yourself. Does that change your thoughts, which change your life? Absolutely it does, okay? But this book is written by Spencer Johnson. He's also the one who wrote the book that we did, Who Moved My Cheese. There's a book over there on Who Moved My Cheese. This book is really powerful. So there's 3 secrets to the 1 minute manager, and that's really what I'm going to talk about in here. Well, the beauty of how he writes these books is he talks about a journey of a young man trying to find the right manager, and he went out and met with other managers, and we're going to talk about that and how that all came to be and how he found this super manager, and he went to this manager. So not to spill the beans too much, but that's what we're going to dig into today. So for those of you that are just joining me, yes, this is your coach, not your guru, Zack Childress. Come on board, learn how to grow your business and how to build a very successful company, whether it be real estate or widgets or spinners. I don't care what you're in. You got to get your mind right to get your life right, okay? And that's where it all comes down to, is where are you at and what are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice, right? What are you willing to sacrifice? On the feet, man, to survive. Listen to that. You hear that? With just a man with his will to survive. Glory. That's a powerful song if you really listen to the lyrics. So it's really talking about how, like, you come from the streets, where your streets are, who knows, and then you set off on a journey. But with the will to survive, you will make it. You'll get back up on your feet and you will survive. And so I love that song. That's a good song to start our journey off. So here's the beauty of this. Two things to talk to you about before we get started. Number one, the book. Get your copy of the book. These things are flying off the shelf. I think we're close to 500 copies since yesterday. 500 copies of My First Deal Playbook. Can you put that back on the screen for me, DJ? So 500 copies of My First Deal Playbook. Go to myfirstdealplaybook.com. That is a powerful thing for you. Go over there. Here's some of the stories. Get your book. This is your book, My First Deal Playbook. This is your book. You need to get it in there. I gave you guys a sneak peek about the last couple of weeks where I was signing copies. Well, that is over. That is over. Now it's time for you to get real. Get in and get your books. I got a pretty good idea. We'll probably hit 3,000 of these things sold by the end of the week. So I'm excited about that. You should be excited about that. Why? Because that means if you love me and the company, that means we're making ripples. How are we making ripples? We're putting this book in people's hands. Changing some lives out there, okay? Changing some lives. That's the first thing I need to tell you about. The second thing I need to tell you about is you need to get to our Dallas event. November 10th through the 12th. Need to be in Dallas, November 10th through the 12th. That's another amazing, life-changing event we're going to be doing. And for all of you that were asking why wasn't Jill in Colorado, Jill will be in Dallas, okay? So Jill will be in Dallas, and you guys can all, stop asking me if Jill's coming to the event, okay? So I share that with you because I want you to know those are two powerful things. I have not released the golden tickets yet. I don't plan on releasing golden tickets anytime soon, but you're more than welcome to start getting registered because you know how it is. We don't put 300 people in a room. We cut it off. We want it intimate. I want to be able to get to know you guys and teach you guys. I'm the guy that walks around and actually talks to you and spends time with you and hears what you have to say and what challenges you're working on, because I don't want to sit in front of a room and lecture you. I want you to be doing work at this event, okay? Doing work. Do the work. That's what I want you to do. So get ready for those two things, okay? So come on board, Facebookers. Tell us where you're from, my fans, my club. Be part of the club here, right? Be part of the club. That's what I want you to be part of. And that's what it's all about. So I'm excited to have you on today. So here's the thing. Oh, hey, Steve on there? Steve, did I get you a song that you like? I know you were telling me I needed to play some 70 music, so I hope you like my Eye of the Tiger music here for you. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Get it going. Get it going. So let's do this. Let's dig into the 1 Minute Manager. Now, here's what he starts off with. I love this. I love that I'm going to take this piece of paper off right here. He starts off with, this is inside the cover page. Love this. He says, help people reach their full potential, catch them doing something right. That is part of the 3 secrets to the 1 Minute Manager. So let me kind of give you a backstory on what's going on in the 1 Minute Manager. So in the 1 Minute Manager, it starts off with once upon a time, right? There was a bright young man who was looking for a special kind of manager who could lead and manage in today's changing world. remember what I just said there, changing world. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Because a lot of times we get stuck in what we've always done, and we think what we've always done is always going to work, and it's always going to take us into the future. And that's wrong. If you're not changing, then you're sitting stagnant, or you're having a hard time moving your business forward because, man, I mean, our economy changes left and right. I remember 16 years ago when I got into real estate and how far real estate has changed in 16 years. I mean, man, investors have it made today. When I started, and I always, that makes me sound old, but when I started, we walked uphill both ways to school, right? But when I started, we didn't have access to the things we have today. So you need to understand that. So he says, took a special kind of manager who could lead and manage in today's changing world. He wanted to find one who encouraged people to balance their work and their life so that each become more meaningful and enjoyable. He wanted to work for one, and he wanted to become one. His research had taken him over many years to far corners of the world. He had been in small towns and in the capitals of powerful nations. He was beginning to see the full spectrum of how people manage people, but he wasn't always pleased with what he saw. And so this is the story of this young man, and it ends in the book where he went out and, interviewed and met with people, and then he found this highly influential, successful manager that basically is what the 1 Minute Manager is about, and how he saw the potential of what this manager was creating for not just the company, but for other people that worked for him. And I'm going to dig into that part because that's the 3 secrets here. But then it goes on to talk about how he implemented that in his life, and how he implemented that in his business, and how it grew. So let's dig in, okay? So he had seen many tough managers whose organizations seemed to win, but just because the organization was winning, the people that were working there were lost. So, sometimes people say, oh, well, be tough on them, be hard on them. You'll drive up the numbers and people are expendable. Well, let me say this. I believe anybody can be replaced. Even myself can be replaced. Okay. So let me not try to, overshadow the idea that, I'm special, because I may be special in my own way, but I'm not special to any company, because the being is anybody can be replaced in a company. But being tough and making people feel like that they're a lost leader is not good, okay? So he says here, as the young man sat in each of these tough people's offices, he asked them one question. What kind of manager would you say you are? And here's the thing. You might be watching this right now and you might be saying, well, I'm a solo writer. I don't even have employees. But it doesn't matter. And you'll hear the message in this. You have to start with managing yourself. You have to start holding yourself accountable and managing yourself before you can even ever be a true leader to others. So here's some of the responses that he got when he asked that question to some of these tough managers. They said, I'm a bottom line manager. I'm a hard nose. I'm a realistic. I work with profits in mind. And trust me, I've worked for some of these guys that think like this. They said they had always managed that way and saw no reason to change. The young man also met with some nice managers whose people seemed to win while their organizations lost. You see the difference there? So the tough managers, the organizations were winning, but the people were lost. The nice managers, the organization was losing, but the people were happy to be there, right? And there has to be a balance in here. As the young man sat and listened to these nice people answer the same question that he heard the tough managers say, this is their answers. I'm a participative manager. And if you guys don't know what that means, a participative manager is the manager who says, I'll do it with you. What are you working on? I'll help you. I'll do it with you. They were supportive. They were very supportive. They were considerate, they would say. They would also say that they were humanistic. And so, meaning that they thought about the employee's emotions more than anything. So, but he was very disturbed. Now, we've got a whole lot of people coming on board right now. So what we're digging deep into is the 1 Minute Manager. And the 1 Minute Manager is written by Spencer Johnson, who also wrote Who Moved My Cheese. And the story, if you're just catching on board with us, is about a young man that is seeking to become a better manager, but also he's seeking a manager he can learn from. And so he goes out and he interviews tough managers and nice managers to try to figure out what's going to be the best process for him. It was as though most managers in the world were still managing the way they had always done and were primarily interested in either in results or in people. You hear that? They were either interested in results or people, but not both. The young man thought each of these types, the tough autocrat and the nice democrat, was only particularly effective. It's like being half a manager, he thought. In these changing times, the young man thought, the most effective managers manage themselves and the people they work with so that both the people and the organization profit from their presence. That's important to understand, that if you're a highly successful leader or manager, and you guys, if you're in real estate, you're a manager. There's no way around it. That's why I'm picking this book, to help you guys understand this. Young men had looked everywhere for an effective manager. This guy was. Now here's where it starts digging into how he found the 3 secrets, and he found the 1 Minute Manager. Then he began hearing marvelous stories about a special manager who lived, surprisingly, in a nearby town. He wondered if this person would be willing to share his secrets. He phoned the assistant to the special manager to see if they might get an appointment. The assistant put him right through to the manager immediately, which surprised this young man. He used to be a top-down managed company which worked in its time, but today the structure is too slow. It doesn't inspire people. It's stiffing innovation. Customers demand quicker service and better products, so we need everyone to contribute their talent. Listen to that. Everyone contribute their talent. See, I think that's a huge misconception in business world. We hire someone and we say, hey, look, I'm going to hire you for this position. And then when they don't do well in that position, the problem is they get rid of them. They get rid of them instead of trying to cultivate and really define what that person is good or could excel at inside the organization. And this is what he's talking about here, contributing their own talents. We read the book the other day. It was the 9 Things Successful People Do, and it was finding your internal genius. That's also known as your talent, right? What is your genius? What do you bring to the table? I just went through this. I sit on a nonprofit board as a president. Well, I sit on 2 associations or boards, and both of them I'm the president of, but one of them is a nonprofit. And there was a lady in there that had a chair position. So there's boards, there's chairs, and there's committees. She had a chair position that she just wasn't happy with, so she was not fulfilling her chair position well. Well, the rest of the board wanted to basically axe her. I mean, that's the real of it. Well, I had to step in and say, look, we don't need to axe her. I mean, I don't want to force anybody out of a chair position. Why don't you let me spend some time with her and figure out what she has of value and what are her talents, and let's see if we can't cultivate a committee that would work well around her talents. And so, hence, we did. And she's going to bring huge value to the school, which is what this board is. And it's in special needs. She has special need children. She went through the trials and tribulations of trying to get her special need child, the training and the testing that he needed to be able to stay in schools. And just some of the stories are really bad when I'm talking to her about what the school systems really do when they have a special needs child. They don't really want them there, honestly. They want them to be homeschooled. And so, but what I identified in that moment was that was a skill set she had, and she knew a lot about it, and she was passionate about it, and we did not have a special needs committee on this board. So instead of axing her, why not put her in her own committee and let her excel at that? And hence, we fixed the problem. Or, I guess I fixed the problem. So that's what he's talking about here. The brain power isn't only in the executive office. It can be found throughout the organization. One of the things, like when I'm brainstorming in my company, I'll walk around the office and ask people, hey, give me your idea on this, give me your idea on this, and give me your idea on this. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Because here's why. A lot of times my creativity can be great at moments, but it can also be bogged down. Right? It can be bogged down because I'm thinking of so many things that I can't be creative on that specific topic. So I will go around and seek other people's opinions. He goes on to say, since speed is the currency of success now, which that is very true, the speed in which you implement has a direct reflection of how much success you'll have quickly. Leading with collaboration is far more effective than the old command and control system. I met with our team, this is what the manager says, once a week on Wednesday morning. That's why I couldn't meet with you, because the guy had asked for a meeting on Wednesday. At those meetings, I listened to our group review and analyze what they achieved the previous week, the problem they had, what remains to be accomplished, and their plans and strategies to get those things done. You can already see right there what he's doing, right? He's saying, I'm going to meet with a team. You tell me what you've gotten done. You tell me what you still need to get done. And you tell me what you're going to do to get it done. Is he going in as a dictatorship saying, this is what you haven't done and this is what you need to have done? No, he's allowing his team to hold themselves accountable. And that's something that you need to be doing with your team or even with yourself. The purpose of the meeting is for people to participate in making key decisions about what they're going to do next. The manager that he's talking to, we're here to get results. By drawing on the talent of everyone, we're a lot more productive. The manager got to his feet and began to walk about. To succeed sooner, managers must be both result-orientated and people-orientated. See, and I think that's where some managers have really lost their entire way, is they tend to do both, right? And I see this firsthand all the time, especially as a consultant in business and in my own business, I guess I should make that plural, huh?
Yeah.
is that managers tend to either be really people orientated because they want them to like them and they want to do cool things and they want to be all, let's do this. But they fail when it comes to result orientated, right? And so then again, sometimes they make a huge shift. They go right to result orientated and they fail to keep people orientated. And there's a balance there. There is a balance of how do we operate, when we're growing a company especially, or where we're trying to manage ourselves and hold ourselves accountable. How do we do the fine line? Like, especially for a lot of you just starting in real estate, you're your only manager, right? So how do you hold yourself accountable and at the same time also give yourself some time to enjoy what you're doing, right? Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it forever. And he said, in this quote he has in here, it says, people who feel good about themselves produce good results. So, which I love that. All right, let me move on through the book a little bit here for you. Over on page 19 and 18. The young man observed, so you look to see if you're doing what's expected rather than waiting for your manager to tell you. Now, this is coming because when he got through with the manager, the manager, he basically asked the manager, he said, well, is there people in your organization I could talk to kind of see how they feel about your management skills? Remember, the young man's interviewing a superstar manager that has driven results in his company with following a theory called the one minute manager. And so he gave him a list of 6 names. And he said, here's 6 names. You can talk to one or you can talk to all of them. So on his way out, he talks to the assistant and she says, well, look, these 3 are here and the other 3 are out of town. And he says, okay, well, let's start with the 3 that are here. Now, back up a few pages, he asked the manager, he said, well, which one would you see first? And the manager says, are you asking me to tell you what to do? And And that was the first sign of what this manager was really like, right? Because this manager puts everything on everyone else. He's like, look, I'm going to tell you what I want you to get done, and I'm going to tell you how you have the resources to get it, but don't ask me how you need to do your job. Like, he's making them be accountable. He's making them be, brainstorm and make their own decisions. And he's teaching them, even though they may not be a manager, he's teaching them how to become a manager within themselves. And so he starts the journey here with Teresa. And he goes to Teresa, and the young man observes, so you look to see if you're doing what's expected rather than waiting for the manager to tell you. And she says, yes. That's a huge statement there. Most people who work for a company or anything else, they will sit stagnant waiting for someone to give them direction. Because why? Because one, either they're lazy, or two, I'm afraid I'll make a mistake. But let me say this to you again. The initiative to move forward has more results than the mistake you could have made, right? The initiative, how do you think people get promoted in a company, right? Because they take initiative. They're like, look, I'm just going to do this. I don't need to wait for someone to tell me. I feel this needs to be done. And, I know that they're going to tell me to do it eventually, so I might as well just get it done. So he says, so in a way, you're managing yourself. And she says, exactly. Teresa said with a nod. And it's easier, Teresa said, because we know what our job is. That is a huge statement right there. A lot of people know what their job is and they still won't do anything. Okay? So
so true. I watched a video once that just said, just do your job. If you contract your time out and you agree to do the job, do the job.
Absolutely. And a lot of people have a hard time living that. And also living in it personally. Because you know what your job is. Your job is to build a real estate business. And at the end of the day, you need to hold yourself accountable for that. You don't need somebody else to tell you when to get up in the morning and make phone calls. You don't need somebody else to tell you how many offers you should make. You should just do it, right? You should just do it. It's what you have to do. You just have to do it, okay? So 1 minute goal. Work well when you. Now here's number one secret. If you guys want to write this down, there's 3 secrets in this book. The first secret is 1 minute goals, okay? And that's what Teresa is talking to this young man. And Teresa, it works for the superstar manager. And so she tells him, hey, look, there's 3 secrets to how our manager has such a successful company. And one of them is 1 minute goals. Plan the goals together and describe them briefly and clearly. Show people what good performance looks like. So that's number 1 for a 1 minute goals. Number 2, and there's 5 of them. Number 2, have people write out each of their goals with due dates on a single page. Don't just tell me your goals, give me a due date. And this goes back to something we've talked about year after year after year, is that a goal without a deadline is nothing more than a daydream. That's all it is. Oh, this is what I want to do. If you can't break down your goals into specific timelines, then it's over. It will never start. Number 3, ask them to review their most important goals each day, which takes only a few minutes to do. Number 4, encourage people to take a minute to look at what they're doing and see if their behavior matches their goals. Number 5, if it doesn't, encourage them to rethink what they're doing so they can realize their goals sooner. So the meeting, the 1 minute meeting, is where you're with your team or you're with yourself looking in the mirror, however you want to do it. And it's to get real clear on what the goals are for that week. What do I want to accomplish this week? What am I going to set for myself this week? 20 phone calls, 10 offers, build a power team, talk to, 4, 5, 6 different banks. Set some goals for yourself, but then create timelines for those. I'm going to do this by X, okay? And then the other side of it is every day that you move forward, you need to go back and review those goals every day to make sure that you're working towards those goals. And if you're not, then you need to rethink it. This happens so much when I'm coaching people. I can't tell you how often this happens when I'm coaching people. We'll sit down, we'll create goals on the very first phone call. We'll create goals. We'll create phases in which we're going to deploy those goals. And then we'll get started, and then a month or two into it, I'll get back on the phone, not after 2 months, but I'm saying we're having our calls, and then about 2 months into our calls, they decide they just want to do something completely different than what we talked about. And I'm always curious about. I'm like, well, this is nothing that we've been working on. Why all of a sudden did you decide to go in this direction? Oh, well, I don't know. That's always the answer. Well, I don't know. So, all right. As the young man left Teresa's office, he was struck by the simplicity of what he had heard. He thought it makes sense. After all, how can you be an effective manager unless you and your team are clear about goals and what good performance looks like? So what happened next? He said, I need to meet with someone else. So he meets with this guy named Paul, and he goes to Paul's office, and he was surprised to meet someone so young. Age has nothing to do with it, okay? He said, I just learned about setting 1-minute goals, interjected the young man. And that's when Paul said, 1 minute praising. 1 minute praising is the second secret, okay? The second secret, right? So the first secret is what? 1 minute goals. The second secret is what? 1 minute praising. Now this is a great section right here. The manager made it very clear to me what he was going to do. He said it would be a lot easier for me to do well. Oh, listen to this. So many of you need to hear this because sometimes we take correction or criticism on what we're doing as a negative thing, and we tend to block it, or we tend to, be negative back. But listen, this is what the manager told Paul. He said it would be easier for me to do well if he gave me crystal clear feedback on how I was doing. He said it would help me succeed, that I had talent, and he wanted to keep me. He also wanted me to enjoy my work and to be a big help to the organization. Then he told Paul he would let him know in very specific terms when I was doing well and when I wasn't. He cautioned me that it might not be very comfortable at first for either of us. Listen to that. Listen, I work with people all the time, and when you try to tell them that they're doing something wrong and that they need to rethink that or try a different process, man, they push back. They push back because why? Because they take it personally. And that's like the worst thing you can do when you're trying to be better and you're working for a company or you're building your own company and someone's trying to give you advice or trying to tell you, hey, look, that's just not the process we're going down. It doesn't matter that your opinion you think is right. What matters is you've got somebody who has years more experience than you trying to help build a better you, and you push back. What happens is when you do that, they don't want to help you anymore. They don't want to bring, advice to you. They don't want to, help you grow because they know all they're going to get is pushback from you. So you got to think about that. We have a saying around here that every manager lives by. Help people reach their full potential, catch them doing something right. I love that. Catch them doing something right. Because why? Doing something right is the 1 minute praising. And here's what it is. There are 6 topics in this. The first half minute, so the first 30 seconds, praise people as soon as possible. Hey, you're doing a great job. I love what you're doing. You're doing a great job. This is a 1 minute praising, okay? So we just talked about the first secret. If you're just joining me, we're going over the 1 minute manager. The 1 minute manager and how this affects your business, your growth, and everything else. And we just talked about, the 1 minute meeting. What was the 1 minute meeting route? That was the first secret. There's 3 of them. It was about getting crystal clear with your goals, holding accountability, letting people know that you need to give me a deadline for your goals, not me, you, and let's work together on these. The second one is the 1 minute praising. And this was getting a very crystal clear understanding between you and yourself or you and your staff that, hey, look, for us to work together, I need to be able to tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, and you can't hold it personally. I love that. I should have had that conversation with people years ago. And so he says, for the 1 minute praising, this is how it breaks down. The first 30 seconds. Praise people as soon as possible. Let people know what they did right. Be specific. I love that you did that. I love that you put that together. I love that you took that initiative and made that phone call. I love that you went ahead and met with that person and did these things. Like, for me, when people, like, I can't explain this, but when people take initiative around me, it's like, I mean, it makes me feel like this. That's how I feel inside when people take initiative. I feel like I'm rising up to the top. That's how I feel right there. Okay? Tell people how good you feel about what they did right and how it helps. That makes me happy that you did that, right? That's 30 seconds. It literally takes 30 seconds. Then pause. This is a big part that the manager talks about, that when you praise someone, you need to do this. You need to tell them that you're happy that they did it. Tell them what they did that made you happy, and tell them how it made you feel. And then you need to pause. And why do we pause? So that they can absorb that. So that they can think for a minute, man, like, I'm appreciated. This is awesome. The second half of the meeting, encourage them to do more of the same. Look, if you did that over and over again, like, you'd be a huge asset. You would grow. Your financial state would grow. Make it clear how you have confidence in them and support their success. I do this all the time with certain departments, especially departments that work hard at, like, and they're paid on commission based, right? It's like, hey, look what you just did. That right there is what you need to do over and over again. And I know that you can do that. I know you can do more than that. You got to believe in yourself, and you got to be consistent with it. So that's the second secret. Now, moving on. The next morning, the young man arrived at another person whose name was John, and's office, and he wanted to meet with this person. Now remember, this is 3 people he's meeting with that work for this 1 minute manager that he's interviewing. One of the most remarkable things that he does differently, is what John's saying now, is how he responds to us when we've done something wrong. Ooh, what? You mean I don't just get praised all the time? Another thing they talk about in the secret of the 1 minute praising is that you don't just praise people for the heck of it, right? They need to earn that praising. They need to earn it. They need to do something that's good to get that praising. When we do something wrong, I thought a key motto around here was, now this is the young man being sarcastic, right? He quotes the guy. When you do something wrong, then he says, I thought your motto around here was catch people doing something right. Like, how sarcastic, right? Then John says, if I or someone on my team makes a significant mistake, that's when I may get a 1 minute redirect. A redirect. That's the third secret. So the first secret is what? 1 minute meeting, 1 minute goal setting. The second secret is 1 minute praising. The third secret is 1 minute redirect. So see, here's the thing. When someone does something wrong, I'll give you a prime example. Yesterday, something went wrong with something that we did. And I was going back through it, and the person who came to me and was like, hey, look, I know I did this wrong, and I was frustrated about it. I didn't go on and on about it. I really asked one question. I said, do you know what you did wrong, and can it be fixed? And he said, yes. I said, all right then. That's all I wanted to know, right? It's when people don't take ownership and they try to blame others and they don't think it's their fault. And I hear that all the time, even in my office and even working with other business owners. People tend to never want to take ownership. And that will drive someone more batshit crazy than just taking ownership and being like, I screwed it up. I'm sorry. Okay. Like, I know what I did wrong. Here's what I'm going to do to be right about it. Do you understand? That is 1 minute managing. I didn't have to go to that person and now start to break them down because they won't take ownership, to try to get them to see that they made the daggum mistake. And if they won't acknowledge that, then I've got to beat on them until they acknowledge it, so that I then can tell them what to do right. But when someone says, look, I did that, and you know what, I know I did that, then I can say, okay, well, you know what you did wrong. Do you know what you need to do to fix it next time? Yes, I've identified it. I know what I did wrong. I know what I need to do. That right there is a redirect. That's a 1-minute redirect. Nothing else needs to be said. It's over. It's done. Right? There's no harping. There's no upset. There's nobody's going to get mad. You've identified it. You've got it fixed. It's a redirect.
Do you remember when that happened with me?
Which time?
Oh, well, I do make a lot of mistakes. But my favorite one was when you walked in after that marketing email.
Oh, with my information on it? Yeah.
That was my favorite one because that was a huge mistake, and I was ready to cry. I will never forget that moment. I'm like, whew.
Yeah, I remember
Lord.
that. But there again, she's like, I made the mistake. I know what I did wrong, and I know how to fix it next time.
There was no fixing it that time.
Well, no, you couldn't fix it right then. It was already done.
There was no problem solving.
So he says a 1-minute redirect is the new version of the important third secret. Praising people doesn't always work if it isn't combined with a redirect to correct a mistake when they occur. While I don't always like someone pointing out my mistakes, a redirect can help me get back on track and achieving my goals. And that helps both me and our organization succeed. And that's what's so powerful about this, guys.
Yeah, you did a good job redirecting on that mistake. That's why I brought that up, though.
Yeah, it's just like, here's the thing. When you own it, it's fixable. When you don't own it, oh, man, you can't fix it. So could you tell me more about, the guy says, the key part of using a 1-minute redirect? And here's what the man, or John says, the guy that works for the 1-minute manager. He says, our manager specifically, or he specifies exactly what went wrong so that I know that he's on top of things, that he doesn't want me or my team to be known for poor or mediocre work. Since he ends the redirect by reaffirming that he values me and my team, it's easier for me not to react negatively and become defensive. I don't try to rationalize away my mistake by fixing blame on somebody else. Of course, it helps to know that he will take responsibility if a goal isn't clear or to everyone. Because of that, I know he's being fair. The redirect only takes about a minute, and when it's over, it's over. But you remembered it. And since it ends in a supportive way, you want to get back on track. That is the key right there, guys. So here's the third secret checkpoints. If the goal is clear, a 1-minute redirect works well when you, here's what they say, the first 30 seconds, redirect people as soon as possible. Hey, look, that's not working. You need to change this and go in this direction. Confirm the facts first and review the mistakes together. Be specific, okay? Express how you feel about the mistake and its impact on results. You know, hey, look, this happened, and here's what could happen from it. And you may not see the other side of the mistake you made, but here, that mistake could lead us down this path. And so that they know that it's much bigger than a typo, or oops, I hit send, or oh, I wasn't prepared, before we did something. So, but there again, once you do the redirect for the first 30 seconds, you pause. You pause. Here's why pausing is so important, because when you praise someone or you redirect someone and you pause, it gives them a minute to soak it in. It gives them a minute to understand. I pause a lot. And the reason I pause a lot is one, that, but two, I want the person I'm talking to think. I want them to think. I want them to not be reactive and just listen. I want them to think. I have the hardest time with this in my daughter. I'm always trying to get her to think and process things and to talk, because you'll say, Ava, why'd you do that? And she'll just stare at you. And I'm like, Ava, why'd you do that? She just stares. I'm like, you got to say something, Ava. Like, she goes into this mode where, like, she doesn't want to say anything. So I'm working on that.
That's a girl thing.
Yeah, I don't understand it. So the second half of the 1-minute redirect is this. Remember to let them know that they're better than their mistake and that you think well of them as a person. remember or remind them that you have confidence and trust in them and support their success with you or in your company. Realize that when the redirect is over, it's over. It's over. Let it go. That's one thing that people know me around this office know. That if I do get upset about something and I voice my opinion and my expression of it, 2 minutes later, I'm done with it. Like, I'm not going to harp on it. I'm not going to drag it out. I said my piece. It's over. It's up to you as my team to take that and not do it again. So I'm going to end on a couple of these quotes, and then I'm going to answer some of your guys' questions. So he says, the best minute I spend is the one I invest in people. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe that investing in people is the success to anything. I mean, people are, a driving force to anything that we do. And if we can cultivate our team to not only love working for you, but to love your vision and to really support your crazy dreams, then you've done something different that most people haven't. And that is something that you can't just go out and put together. It takes time to really cultivate that team. And so you got to remember that when you're recruiting people to help you grow your business, you don't want to recruit people based on just how much money you can pay them. You want to recruit people that actually say, listen, like, this is an opportunity that, yeah, I'm going to get paid, but I'm also going to be part of something bigger. I'm going to be helping people with real estate. I'm going to learn from this, and in my world, not only real estate, but others. I mean, there's so many things that we're a big part of, much bigger than me. And so I love that. I love that. The other thing that he says in here is this: everyone is a potential winner. Everybody's a winner, right? Everyone is a winner. That goes back to what we're talking about over the next couple of weeks is, next week we're doing an interview
with Ian.
We're going to be doing a dig deeper interview with Ian Flanagan. But after that, we're going to dig into the 7 habits of highly effective people. And in here, he talks about we're all leaders. We're all leaders. We may not be a leader on the racetrack, but we might be a leader, in our community. So we can't allow ourselves to get discouraged because we're just not a leader in that part. And this is why I love, like, our schools around here do what's called a Leader in Me. And it's written by Stephen Covey. And it's the 7 habits of, for kids and how they become leaders. And so I love that. So he says here, everyone is a potential winner. Some people are discouraged as losers. My reading ability. Some people are disguised as losers, meaning somebody might just walk in and look at them and be like, oh, what a loser, right? But don't let their appearance fool you. Some of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, when you saw them, you probably wouldn't have thought that. One of the best musicians I ever met in my life was on a beach, and he was a beach bum. He taught me how to play a guitar. Like, every night he sat by himself on the beach, and I just went over and started talking to him, and the guy played music like you wouldn't believe. I mean, it was just touching. And he wrote all of his own music. He didn't have a desire for the materialistic world. But he smelled, you know what I mean? He looked bad, but he had a gift. So I've always said never underestimate a person's outward appearance to what they really have to offer the world. And so, I think that's what he's saying here too. Now, I'll end on this. Take a minute to look at your goals. Then look at what you're doing and see if it makes your goals possible. The 1 Minute Manager, the end of the book is all about this young man use these techniques that he learned from the 1 Minute Manager to build a company and really change the way his people were and how he was. And because if you think about it, those 3 secrets inside this book, the 1 Minute Manager, the first secret was 1 minute goals. The second secret was 1 minute praising. And the third secret was 1 minute redirect. You can use those in business, life, and everything. And so I encourage you guys, if you have never read this book, get it. The 1 Minute Manager by Spencer Johnson. So it's a great little read. So what has Facebook got for us today, Jill?
Well, everybody is really into this book, and Christy is back. And Christy is saying, she said, so surrendering or laying aside ego to hear, learn, and grow into becoming all we can.
Love that. She must have like a book of this stuff.
I love Christy. She's so sweet. Let's see here. We've got a lot. Oh, by the way, Steve said he does enjoy your music today.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's see if you like my second song for the ladies. For the ladies. For the ladies.
He called me out a little bit too and was like, oh, sure, Jill, when you said that I'll be in Dallas.
Oh.
Then let's see. Steve actually said that he read this book back in the 80s. It was a required reading for him, a benefit then, and still relevant. He said, time for a reread.
Yeah, absolutely. Reread it. I mean, I whipped through that book in less than an hour. So if I can read it in an hour, geez, you guys can probably read it a lot faster.
There's some fellowship going on here as well in the comments
Awesome.
between Toby and Steve and Christy, which is great.
Yeah.
Christy, she said, always be a gold digger.
A goal, not gold, a goal digger.
Yes.
Hashtag that, goal digger. I like that.
Then we have Carolyn, who she says, who, me?
Oh, Carolyn, don't take any of it personally, but stay focused.
You know, I'll share this with you too. A saying in my house growing up was, I would really like to meet. I didn't do it because they do a lot of stuff around my house.
Yeah, that's like the sock bandit, right?
Yeah.
Where'd the sock go? I don't know.
Christy says, making ripples.
Awesome. That's our goal, is to make ripples. So.
And then Toby says, I'm really understanding some of the mistakes that I've already made, and I know how to correct them right away. Thank you, Zach.
That's what it's about. It's about changing our thoughts so that we can change our lives, right? Prepare for success. Don't just demand success. Prepare for it. How do we prepare for success? We change our thoughts. We look at everything we've done and what we're doing and how we're going to change that and how we're going to make it better and what we did that we could do better. You know, we got to change that. And we got to fight for it, guys. Like, you got to fight for this. No one's going to give it to you. You got to fight for it. I got a song for you.
You hear my voice this time. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove it my right song.
Yeah! You got to fight for it. All right, what do you think about that one? You gotta fight for it, guys. You gotta fight for it. That's your fight song. This is your fight channel right here. This is why we do this. Get it going. Don't be sitting stagnant. Like, feel it. Go do it. Make your own ripples in the world. Tell everybody what you do. Share the stream. Tell people to get engaged in their life. Tell people to wake up. Take ownership and live a life of abundance by first starting with themselves. That's where it starts. That's where you start. That's where I started. Look, Saturday, I'm going to take some people back home where I grew up in a trailer park, and I'm going to show them, hey, look, you see my life where it is today, but you never saw my life where I came from, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to take them there and show them the rat's nest I grew up in and how bad it was, and so that they can see the difference and what it took for me to change my mindset to get out of that lifestyle to live where I live today. Because I never gave up. I fought for it. Because why? Everything around me was, look, my society labeled me as soon as I was born. They labeled me. Oh, your mother's poor, you're on food stamps, you're a government assistant child, this is where you're going to be forever. But I fought to get out of that. I fought every day to make sure, not fight physically, even though I had to do a lot of that where I grew up, but fought mentally to say, look, I'm not going to allow my surroundings to affect what I believe I should be when I grow up. And that is half the battle, is keeping the fight strong inside of you to push out the negativity. So, anyways, that's how I feel about it.
Steve enjoyed the fight song.
Well, good, Steve. Good. Anything else from Facebookers?
They're all gone a little quiet.
Guys, I love you guys. You're my team. You're my team. You're the reason we do this. Remember, get the book. Get the book, My First Deal Playbook. Go to myfirstdealplaybook.com. Do that right now. Get your book. Get it, read it, love it. Send me a testimonial about the book. Also, don't forget about my event coming up November 10th through the 12th in Dallas, Texas. Get registered for that. Be part of it, guys. Be part of it. This is Zack Childress and Jill with another Dig Deeper. Remember, fight for what you want, guys. I'll see you next week. Love you guys. Be good.